Hi guys, and welcome back to another IBRACORP video. As usual, pleasure to have you guys back here. Thank you for checking out the channel today. If you like what we're doing, please think about subscribing and hitting the like button. It really helps the channel out and we would really appreciate it. Like I promised you guys last week, this week we're going to be looking at Jellyseerr. And Jellyseerr is a media request application, and as they describe it, it's for managing requests for your media library. This works similar to PDO and Overseerr, of course, where it's forked from, and also sports features that you would find in something like Emby. So those who are fans of Emby, like myself, you might find some of the features we tell you about today pretty interesting. We also have some insider information from the developers who worked with us to create today's guide by answering some questions from us in order to create it for you guys. And they have some really cool features that you don't know about just yet that we're going to reveal to you later on in this video. All I can tell you at this point is that if you're running Plex, you might want to keep watching. So guys, if you're looking for a media request application, one that is derived from the aesthetic of Overseerr, and you're into that kind of style, then Jellyseerr is going to be the one for you. We hope you enjoy. Without further ado, let's get stuck into it. Alright guys, so getting straight into it this week, we're looking at Jellyseerr like I said. I'm here on the GitHub. Jellyseerr is a free and open source software application for managing requests for the media library. It is a fork of Overseerr, and it's built to bring support for Jellyfin and Emby media servers. Now on their current features, they list Jellyfin support and Emby support, but we have some extra information from them hot off the press. We spoke with them yesterday, and there's a little bit of a change there that we'll talk about in a moment. Underneath that, it's along with other existing Overseerr features that you may know and are used to. So you can read through that if you like. We've covered Overseerr already in a separate video that you guys might be interested in, so feel free to check that out. We're just looking at Jellyseerr, and it's going to be offering a lot of those features, which is great because a lot of people want to self-host, and what we did last week was show you Jellyfin to get you started on your journey and hopefully get these projects supported really well. Now the installation's not too difficult. We'll get into a lot of the look of it once we get in there. Of course, you can see from the screenshot that we've got a very familiar Overseerr outlay. Okay, it's very familiar. You're going to feel like you're right at home if you're already using Overseerr, but we're getting that extra support. So then there's some other links here. You've got their Discord as well. You can ask questions at their GitHub discussions, and you can put in bug reports as well. So they're big on contribution. And something we really appreciate about these developers is they're very active in development. They've been working very hard on this app and taking community feedback and actually listening to the crowd. We know there's some developers that aren't doing that. Sometimes that's a detriment to themselves, of course. But these guys have been really responsive to the community, and that's the kind of thing that we want to help support. So guys, all said and done, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, we're talking about Overseerr with Jellyfin and Emby support. Sure. That sounds basic on the box, but let's actually get into the app and see what it looks like. I'll show you the installation for both Unraid and Docker Compose. Let's start with Unraid. If you're not using Unraid, feel free to use the chapters to get to the next step. And here we are on Overseerr, our Unraid server. First thing we'll do is head over to apps. Search for Jellyseerr, and you'll see one here by xWeegex repository. We'll click on that, and you can see it's pulling from the official repository. Go ahead and click install. We're going to set the network type to our custom Docker network. The port it's using is 5055. We have the app data location, which we're happy with, and then there's the log level, which is currently set to info. We'll scroll down, and then we have our PUID and PGID, as well as the UMask. That's all pretty straightforward. We don't need to change much. Go ahead and click apply. So we come back to our Docker tab, and we can see Jellyseerr is running. Let's left click and go to the web UI. And here we are. We're now on the web UI. Let's quickly show you the Docker Compose file, and then we can jump into the app, which is where all the action's really going to happen. Also guys, if you're not aware, all this stuff is in our documentation to help you navigate and find all the links that you might need to go along with today's video. You can find them at our docs page, docs.ibracorp.io. Alright guys, so now we're SSH to our Ubuntu server. This is where we use all of our Docker Compose. So first thing we'll do is create a folder for us to put Jellyseerr in there. Now my location for Docker containers is in the opt folder. If yours is somewhere else, obviously just make sure that folder is correct. So we've created the Docker Compose file. We can see that in there. What we'll do now is go to our code server and we'll paste in our Docker Compose there. If you haven't seen our video on code server, be sure to check that out. It's a really useful tool. Okay guys, so we've now pasted our Docker Compose configuration. With that done, we'll go ahead and start it up. Go ahead back to your terminal and type in docker compose up -d in the folder where the docker compose file is. As you can see, I made a tiny mistake. Accidentally put an underscore instead of a hyphen. Also just corrected the environment variable there. And there we go. Now that's pulling down for us and it should be up in no time. And it's done. So let's navigate to that now. And now both you guys who are using Unraid or Docker Compose can watch from the same point. From this point on, we're going to be looking inside the app itself. Alright guys, so now we've shown you both installation methods. Now we can all look at the app together. So when you first start up, you'll get the installation screen and you have to set it up. So I wouldn't recommend reverse proxying this before you've obviously set it up. Just in case you might have some sort of automation with that, just be careful. Once you've got it up and running, jump straight in. So you have two options. We can use our Plex account to sign in, or we can use our Jellyfin account. Now I want to assume that I don't want to be tied to another third party, so we'll try with our Jellyfin account and see how that goes. So I've put in our Jellyfin URL, which is local to obviously Jellyseerr. If they were on the same custom Docker network, which they are, I can also just put the container name if I so choose. Jellyfin, just like that. And keep the rest as is. All right, and it's signed me in. So it's actually signed me in with my user account from Jellyfin, which is great. And now it's going to ask us to sync the libraries. Let's go ahead and do that. Beautiful, that's worked. We'll check our two libraries off. And do we want to trigger a scan? Usually I don't trigger a scan during a setup phase because you might be messing with a lot of settings. So I recommend you actually just hold off on that until you've set up completely and then run the scan, or let it just do it whenever it's automated next. We'll just click continue. And now it's going to ask us for our radar and sonar settings. Now I'm not going to fill it out for today's video, but if you want to, go ahead. Just put in the server name, so you can call that whatever you want. The host name, you can use the container name again, and port if they're on the same custom Docker network. If you don't know how to do that, we have a 1-minute video on how to do that. Otherwise, just use the host IP if it's bridged. We have our ports, and then we have a bunch of other information that you get from sonar and radar. So with the installation and the initial setup done, now we can really get to brass tacks. Right now, we're talking about a media request system that supports Jellyfin, right? It also supports Emby, and it also supports Plex. You heard me right. So we asked the developers, what would you like showcased? What's something about this app that people really need to know about? They've come back with the fact that it works with all major media servers, Plex, Emby, Jellyfin. But here's the kicker that you may not know. Soon, we will support multiple simultaneous server instances. Now think about that for a second. That could be quite useful if you have multiple media servers, multiple media request apps as well. Now the goal behind this project, from the words of the developer, is that it was started as a fork of Overseerr. But for the new version that you guys haven't got yet, 1.2.0, they're planning to bring in some much needed features. So they're bringing in things like multi-instance support to have multiple media servers linked, the ability to change emails for each user, Emby and Jellyfin only, music support, filters, combined login, book support, and much more. Now, where do we start with that, guys? That's a lot that we have planned in the pipeline, and a lot of features I think a lot of us in the community will find pretty useful. Often people bring up Emby as a competitor, of course, and they mention the fact that it does music, and so that's a benefit. And sure is, it definitely is, I agree. Looks like Jellyseerr might be getting as well, and something that could tip it over the line to be a very high contender in the media request app field. It's already impressing. Now let's select a media item, so we'll go to Fantastic Beast here, for example. We have a look through, we're pretty familiar with that, it looks great, really easy to read, everything we love about it, and then we click on request. Now it's going to be request automatically, that's fine. We haven't got sonar and radar running in this setup, so we haven't set this up. Now, if we come into the user list, you'll see it'll tell you the type of user we have. You can also import Jellyfin users, so if you've got other ones there, you can pull them in. And you can create local users inside of Jellyseerr itself as well. Inside the settings, we've got some interesting ones. So here's where our Jellyfin library is. You can configure the external URL as well, so that any media items obviously link to that page. And it could be the external page if you're reverse proxying it. Got all your notification settings as well, similar to Overseerr there. And then we have our about and all the settings that you set up earlier. Now, something that has been requested by the community for the developers to create is season information request. Now that's something that they've actually listened to the community on, and the community said we want that. They've implemented the feature requests, and this is one that's 85% done now, according to the developer. The ability to have information on season requests. So obviously anyone not familiar with the media request app, you just go into any item and you click request and it should link up to your radar and sonar. And I'm really impressed with the communication from these guys. It's been really, really fun. So there you go, guys. Jellyseerr. It's easy, it's clean, and it's free and open source. On top of that, it supports open source products. So for those of us who want to get away from Plex or get away from any third party having our data or us relying on them to get to our own information, we now have some really good options out there, and we really should be supporting these options any way we can. Now these guys have said they accept pull requests on GitHub, and they would love any more that anyone is willing to provide to help them continue to develop the application further and further. A lot of features coming in pretty hot and heavy, so keep an eye out on development with this one. I'm really keen to see where it goes. Even right now, it's a very strong contender to move me away from those, like I said, third-party run systems and trying to get everything self-hosted again, which is always a nice feeling. If you guys enjoyed the video, please think about liking and subscribing. We'd really appreciate it. And a big thank you to all of our subscribers on our website who are helping support IBRACORP through their donations. We really appreciate it, and we hope you're enjoying the quality content. If you have any other video ideas or things you want us to cover, be sure to let us know in the comments. And until then, we'll see you in the next IBRACORP video.